Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. I'm here for Game 3 of Semifinal A from the European Heart of the Swarm tournament. And we're here to now find out who is going to go on to the grand finals for a shot at that $500 prize. And I believe it might be 500 euros, not $500. So just, letting you guys know in case you guys were getting worked up about that. And we'll see what happens. And it's Rocks Kiss Fraer as the green Protoss in the bottom right-hand corner of Ohana. And over in the top left-hand corner, currently tied up in this game, it is Orange Zerg, Acer's Blair. So now we find out, what is going to happen here and who's going to conclude this matchup, because the first game we had a pretty conventional, I think, ZVP, nothing too crazy, a couple of mothership recalls here or there. But game 2, we really saw both players kind of blossom and open up with really cool units and abilities. Namely, Bly going with a lot of speed hydras and incorporating some swarm hosts containing into his play. It didn't work out too well, though, because Fraer had actually the perfect units to counter swarm hosts, and that is a robotics for observer and a Stargate for some air units, whether it be Phoenix or Void Rays. And Bly didn't play that out too well. If you're going to go for a swarm host contain, you must bring an overseer so that you can catch the observer, whether it be with the Locust. Locust can't hit air, by the way. Some people are like, HD, Locust can't hit air, but they can. It's actually crazy, just like Widow Mines can hit air as well. But yeah, the thing is, if you go for a Swarm Host Contain, you must bring an Overseer or bring an Overseer and Hydras. That's even safer. So, unfortunately, Bly, I don't think, played that out as well as he could have. He certainly could have kept Fraer on the back foot for a very long time, but unfortunately, his Contain was busted down very quickly. Now, in the end of that game, we really saw Fraer incorporating some Tempest play, and I think one mistake, as beautiful as the Tempest play was, I think one thing he could have done to really elevate his play to the next level in that matchup is to use that Oracle. He had an Oracle hiding back here in the back left-hand corner, and recall I mentioned, if you bring that Oracle in and you use the Invisibility Cloak, Harry Potter's Invisibility Cloak, if you use that ability, it's gonna really help your army, because he had, I believe he had Blink Research for Stalkers, so even without Blink, he could have used Tempest, obviously, and if he snipes out the Overseers, all of a sudden the Zerg has no way to catch your army. He didn't really have that many Infestors for Fungal, which does reveal detect units, but regardless, if he had brought that Oracle to cloak his army, that would have been huge. Secondly, we could have seen Fraer going for a Mothership, but he didn't do that either. That being said, he still played a very good game, and now the series is tied up at 1 apiece. So, enough with the introductions and the backdrop and the history. Let's go ahead and get right into this game. It looks like we did have a Forge expand into Nexus by Fraer, who now has the Photon Cannon up. Overlord just chilling above that hatchery. Over on the Zerg side, we have Bly going for an expand as well. It looks like he's also going for gas again, and an early gas opening, but he is also grabbing a third hatch much earlier than he did in the other game. So it's almost kind of like a hybrid. And if I had to take a guess, I think what Bly is doing here is he wants to get the third hatch down. He wants to play eco-wise, but he also wants to add a drop, just a pinch of tech. And I think what he's doing here is he really wants to get to layer as fast as he can, and get maybe swarm hosts out, or maybe he just wants to add that pinch of gas and tech so that eventually he'll have a hive a little bit faster and he'll have speed hydras a little faster. It seems to make sense. I think that would certainly, if that's his strategy here, then it is a solid strategy, but it's going to be interesting to see how he balances out economy and tech here. And that first 100 gas did go to speed, and he's continuing to mine. So he is going to go for a pretty quick layer here. Now, of course, Fraer is unaware of this. He is not keen to the fact that the gas is mining. And for now, he's going to send that Zealot to the top right now. Will Bly let the Zealot go? If he lets the Zealot go to scout that hatchery, that would be really cool. And then kill it off afterwards. No, but he's going to kill the Zealot. And I don't think that Fraer ever really saw that. So I almost kind of feel like it would have been better for Bly to let the Zealot see the hatch, so that the Protoss would be like, oh, you're just hatching, you're not going to have Zergling speed, you're not going to have a quick lair, I'm going to play just as conservative, just as greedy as you are. And then maybe Bly could have punished him with something like a quick Storm Hose Contain, but he didn't do that. That was this totally hypothetical scenarios, obviously, and you know, regardless, we're still having that layer come. And interestingly enough, Bly's not adding on additional gases. Usually, when you start the layer, you want to get the next gases going, and he's getting the second one now. Will he get the third and the fourth? Overlord's now flying in, suiciding to find out what is going on inside the Protoss base. There is a Stargate coming again, and Fraer probably going to open up with a quick Oracle, and of course going to use the Energize to power up the Oracle to full energy. It's a great strategy, really. And it gives the Oracles a bunch of extra Entomb abilities. A couple of gateways coming down now for a total of 4. 4-gate and Stargate with +1 weapons coming. And one thing to note, you know, I mentioned in the last game, why did the Protoss go for shields? I thought that was really weird. I think the reason why he did that is because, well, Protoss shield upgrades share with air and ground, so, and we did see Fraer eventually incorporating Tempests and Phoenixes early on, so maybe that's why he went for shields instead of armor. But we do have an Oracle coming, and what is Bly doing with his quick layer? It looks like he's added on the 3rd and 4th gas, and he's going for double Evo Chamber and Hydra. He's going to go Hydra Ling again, and not going to go for the Swarm Hose Contain, which, to be quite honest with you guys, it didn't work out very well in the last game. And I think, you know, I explained how it could have worked better. I think Bly is just going to say, screw it, I'm not going to mess around with that, and I'm going to go with what has worked for me before, and that is the Speed Hydra style. Alright, well, Zerglings are now trying to break down these rocks to open up a pathway to the 3rd. There is Oracle now flying behind that base, and we should see an Entomb coming down. Oh, this is going to be a deadly Entomb, man. And a lot of lost mining time now for Bly. He didn't actually get a full Entomb off, so 1 mineral patch will be mining, but the Hydra and the Queen will be able to slowly clean this up. Meanwhile, the Oracle doesn't actually have enough energy for... Oh, it dropped the Preordain. Okay, so that did drain most of its energy, and now he gets full vision of this area. In fact, whoa, there's like... That's interesting. Does the Preordain show what units are coming out of the larva? I think it does. Wow, that's a nifty ability that I never realized, and you know, now he knows that it's pretty much mass Hydra by the Zerg player, and his response should be a quick support bay for Colossus. He is getting Blink right now. And, you know, given that the Blink had already started, I think he's just going to go ahead and let it finish up. But he should definitely throw down a support bay for Colossus. He has not started it yet. The Oracle's still hiding in the background. He can bring it in to cloak his army, especially if he drops an Energize on it from the Mothership Core, which at this point does have quite a bit of energy, but he might save it up for a mass recall. And now Fraer moving out. Remember, Protoss nowadays, man, they are so brave and courageous. They definitely went to courage classes, if there's anything like that. And now, you know, they move out. They're not worried about anything. They can just recall back home. Definitely a self-improvement class of some sort here in Heart of the Swarm for Protoss. So now they're no longer fearing of anything. They're going to move out across the right-hand side of the map, and we are going to have a proxy pylon coming up, and Fraer with enough energy for the recall ability. He has the Oracle raiding in the background. It looks like he dropped an Entomb. No, a Preordain on this hatchery, showing 2 Overlords coming on the eggs. Meanwhile, a Warp Prism is coming around the left-hand side. Clever play by Fraer, using this as a diversion to potentially drop in some deadly units into the main base here. And there are 4 Zealots on the way here. They are powered with +2 weapons. So much damage ability here by the Zealots. They're going to be able to do a lot of economy here, wreck a lot of economy here as the Zerglings come back. Queen's targeting the Warp Prism. And now it looks like Fraer going in with his main army as well, but you know, Hydra Ling still kind of wrecks Stalkers, so he needs to be careful, and it looks like he just lost the Warp Prism, and now going in with the main army, has a Preordain here, so his vision is full. He sees everything that's coming. Beautiful force fields, one in the crevice between the macro hatch and the hatch, forcing Bly to cancel the hatchery so he can get the Hydras out. Oh, that in of itself is like, it is like delaying a hatch, if you will. And the force fields were so good that Bly had to actually cancel his macro hatch. And That's pretty bad, because when you go Hydra Zergling, you actually need a lot of larva for the Zergling support. And so a good win right here from the Protoss player, who still hasn't used his Mothership recall yet. He can recall at any point in time, and it looks like now the Hydra's going to try to run up the ramp. They got to be careful, man. There's sentries here with energy for force fields. You do not want to get cut off. Oracle's still waiting in the background. The re-energizing on a Spore Crawler. Interesting. I guess might as well just use the ability for whatever reason. And it's so fragile. The Oracle is actually like half as fragile, half as weak as a Warp Prism, so it would die to the Spore Crawlers there. And now, whoa! Great fungal by Bly, and Fraer did not opt to save those units. Interesting. So it was almost like he was in a predicament. He didn't want to waste the Mothership recall when only a portion of his army was caught off by the fungal, and that might be the way actually to prevent the Protoss from Mothership recalling, force him into a decision where does he spend the Mothership recall on some of his units, and if he doesn't, then you kill him off. But if he does, then you know that you're gonna have total map control, because, you know, given the mindset of the Protoss player, he's probably not gonna move out without Mothership recall energy. And oh, the Entomb came in. How did that happen? It looks like an Entomb did come down. Income dropping for the Zerg player there, and those are always so annoying. But it looks like now Bly is pushing out across the middle of the map, and maybe looking to make a huge attack here with Hydra Infestor and some Zerglings. He needs to be careful of force fields though, and the Stalkers blink forward. Great fungal, and now the force field's coming down. Not the best force fields, I'm surprised, and Fraer doesn't have that much sentries. Why are his force fields so bad? And those were really could just go in the history book as worst force fields ever. And now he's gonna lose so much of his army here. These Hydras are gonna clean up the entire Protoss army. And anytime a Zerg and a Protoss trade and their entire armies go to smithereens, the Zerg almost always will pull ahead, because Zerg can max so much quicker than a Protoss can. A Protoss is very hard pressed to rebuild their army as quickly as Zerg. And now, this is what I'm talking about, man. Bly's coming in with a large wave of reinforcements. Where is he gonna go? He's gonna actually attack into a Photon Cannon and Stalkers, but the Zerglings with one attack, maybe looking to kill off the cannon and a few Stalkers here, but the Mothership Core is recalled into the left. And why did it take damage? Well, I'm not too sure why this Mothership Core took damage. For whatever reason, it is actually heavily damaged right now, but it came back in for a potential Purify. Oh no. Is that, yeah, that Mothership Core is pretty weak. We'll have to check the replay later afterwards to find out why, but it did come in for a potential Purify save. And now it looks like the Oracle continuing to be annoying here, dropping out those Entombs and preventing the Zerg player from mining any resources at all. But the Spine Crawlers being there and a couple of Hydras are able to take out that Entomb fairly quickly. So far, I think Bly this game has done a pretty good job preventing the Harass from, you know, bothering him too much. And now he's moving out across the map with his Hydras, +2 weapons, but still lacks Hydra speed. He needs to actually get his next 150 gas on Hydra speed, and he should research it right now. And I'm not sure what the reason is for the delay. He's pulling back his entire army, in fact, trying to secure his 4th hatchery. But, you know, interestingly enough, despite both armies trading, and, you know, I said Zerg should usually pull out ahead, the problem, once again, is Bly just secured this 4th hatchery, whereas the Protoss has been on this 3rd base for some time. And because of that, it's like it was a 3-base versus 3-base, and this hatchery still hasn't received any saturation yet. So, you know, Bly still finds himself in that predicament where if you don't maintain one base ahead of the Protoss, Heart of the Swarm or not, then you are in some serious trouble. And now, look at that Oracle, comes around the backside, another Entomb. So now it's almost like these Entombs are constantly going down, and yeah, he is killing them off, but it almost puts him down to like 2.5 bases, if you will. And there's another Entomb over on the right-hand side, and, you know, after an Entomb, if it locks all the minerals, the drones must be told manually to go back to mining. So that's another APM-intensive maneuver, forcing Bly into a spot he might not feel too comfortable in. I know I sure as hell don't. So really, at this point, Fraer is just being uber irritating wherever possible, and he is adding on the support bay for Colossus. Very good choice. He still has the 2 Oracles hiding on the left and the right-hand side of the map, waiting for that Entomb to come down. But it looks like Bly about to move out here with a large army. His Hydra speed is finishing up, and he's got Ultras and Infestors. This is a scary army. But Fraer's got a Colossus already, and Thermal Lance just finished for the Colossus. So I don't really know if Bly wants to push in, but he did force the cancel on this Nexus. So in a way, that is a victory for him, and now he can just pull back home. Nicely done by Bly. And, you know, now that he's got this 4th base saturated, it's of the utmost importance that he either gets a 5th right away, or he prevents this Protoss player from claiming his 4th. Either or. Basically, he just wants to keep that 1 base ahead advantage. He doesn't want to let the Protoss claim another base, and if he does, he needs to get a 5th hatch immediately. So, at this point now, the Protoss adding on more Colossus, has a 3rd one on the way, upgrading shields once again, so we might see him use that Stargate later on for Tempest play. A couple of Spine Crawlers going to be able to kill off the Stalker very easily, and the Oracle's still kind of just waiting in the background. Is he continuing to drop the Entomb abilities? It doesn't look like he is. Maybe just saving up energy in the background for now. And the Zerg is starting to max out, man, at 194 supply. And Bly has finished up 3-3, and he's about to finish Adrenal Glands. So the Zerg has a timing here before, I think, +3 shields. He's got about a 30-second window here to hit, +2 shields, in fact. So he's got a 30-second window here to hit before a significant upgrade boost for Fraer. And now going to check to see if there's a 4th Nexus. It looks like there are blueprints, plans for one to come up, but it might be canceled very quickly here because Bly is here with a large army, Ultra Baneling Infestor, but the Banelings don't have speed yet. He might try to come around that fact with Fungal Growth to lock them down, so the Banelings don't really necessarily need speed, but still a risky situation. It looks like he's going to pull away. Infestor sniping by Fraer, very nice snipes, and look at Fraer's positioning here, great concave, but he's got to be careful, man. These Ultras have Burrow Charge, and they're going up right in the front lines. The Colossus are running away, and it looks like we just have a massive battle going on as the Colossus looks to hide on the high ground. Archon morphing in against the edge of the cliff, but the Zerg player is relentless, and he's making 52 Zerglings at this moment in time, and he still has a bunch of Hydras and Ultras here. Fraer's in a lot of trouble, ladies and gentlemen, and if he cannot hold off this attack, how is he going to hold off the wave of 52-something Zerglings coming in, trying to desperately Myco this Colossus against the Hydras? And he loses it at the last second. He could not afford to lose that Colossus, given all the Zerglings are about to swarm his base now. 3-3 upgraded crack Zerglings are coming, and he doesn't have a Colossus. This is absolutely terrible for the Protoss player. There is one new Colossus fresh off the robotics boat, and will it be enough to save his army? The Zerglings now flooding up to the Colossus. Stalker's using Blink to micro back, and I think Fraer just barely, with the skin of his teeth, held off that attack that was so unbearably close. And man, does he ever need to use these Oracles? I wonder what happened to the one on the left-hand side. I'm assuming it just died, but he really needs to start using his Oracles and either bring them back for a Cloak or for Entombs, man. I'm not sure why he isn't using either. It looks like he's just going to use an Entomb right there, and he's almost going to lose it. You can see how fragile that Oracle is. He drops down a second Entomb. Beautiful play, but Cracklings quickly cleaned that up, and now we're going to head over to this base to clean up the Entomb fields as well. So pretty easily cleared out there by Bly, and I really think at this point Entomb is kind of a not the best ability. They're good in the mid game before Zerg has a lot of units, but at this point he needs the cloaking field more than anything, and oh man, does he need a mothership. It looks like this attack party is gonna get, oh man, swarmed, crushed, surrounded, whatever adjective you want to use to describe that, feel free, but Bly is just running the house right now. 188 supply to 106. Broodlord's on the way. Protoss does not have a mothership, does not have his Oracle coming back for a cloak, which could be really the difference maker. I'm so surprised he is not using that. And now he does have some Archons, but this is a deadly, deadly push by Bly. And I don't know if he can hold this off without the right tech units. He doesn't have like I said, Mothership or a Cloak. And here we go, man. Here we go. What is he going to do about these Brute Lords? He might be able to snipe 1 or 2, but the Hydra Zergling will flood in. Fungal on the Colossus as well. Oh, those Hydras with speed are so good. And now the Corruptors can come in and clean up whatever remains of the Colossus. And the Brood Lords, of course, will finish off the ground structures. And you can see here how a Cloak field would have changed. Would have helped a lot, because if the Oracle was here, he could have cloaked his base. The Oracle actually cloaks buildings as well. He could have cloaked his base and his units, and then he could have used his Stalkers to blink micro against the Overseers, and that might have helped him save his base. He also, I guess, could have tried to purify that Nexus by teleporting this Mothership Core over. Speaking of which, how did that Mothership Core lose HP? Because that should not... I don't know how that happens. Okay, it lost it over here. So let's go ahead and rewind a bit and see. That was actually really close. I didn't realize. But let's see here. Major attack kind of going on over here on the right-hand side. And somehow some Zerglings were able to leak into the natural. And it was during this kind of Hydra Infestor counterattack, I suppose. Come on, let's see it. There it is. So a couple of Zerglings leaking in. And I guess the first thing they target is the Mothership Core, not the Mothership. So they were going for the core first, and wow, that is so close. He didn't use a Purify. Yeah! Now, of course, he does keep it alive. We all know that already, but look at how... Oh! He could have killed it! Bly could have killed it. He redirected his fire. Oh. But of course, there were so many other things going on at the same time out in the middle of the map, so... Incredible game of StarCraft 2. What an awesome set of Zerg versus Protoss. Brought to you guys by the Heart of the Swarm, arcade mode, and of course your broadcaster HD StarCraft. I hope you guys enjoyed. Semi-final B will be coming up next, and we will find out who will go on to the grand finals to face the Zerg player Bly for $500. This is HD StarCraft, signing out.